Hi friends, welcome back to my channel Cook with Sana Kuram. This is Sana. Today I'm going to share with you all the secret method of making the most famous, appetizing and addictive chicken fry recipe. Yes, I'm talking about the Kentucky Fried Chicken or the KFC Fried Chicken. After some failed attempts, I finally got the perfect texture and taste in this chicken fry. And hence, this is a foolproof recipe, and I'm here to share some important tips and tricks in this detailed and authentic recipe. And I'm sure that you will get the perfect KFC style chicken in your first attempt itself if you follow the same method of making them. If you like this video and my recipe, please hit a like, share it with your family and friends, and please subscribe to my channel. Come, let's get started. For making the KFC style fried chicken, I have taken 500 grams of chicken drumsticks, wash them thoroughly and drain the excess water and keep them aside till we make the marination. For making the marination, take a mixing bowl and add half a teaspoon of dried basil, followed by half a teaspoon of dried thyme. Also add half a teaspoon of oregano, dried oregano, celery salt a pinch. This is an important ingredient that gives the authentic flavor, but never add too much of it as it may cause bitterness. This is in a crystalline form, so it comes with a mill grinder. Twist it to powder it and you can add to the chicken, but add in very less quantity, just a pinch will do. And add 1 teaspoon of mustard powder. This is the regular mustard that we use for tempering. I have ground them to a fine powder. Black pepper powder 1 teaspoon. Garlic powder 2 teaspoons. If you don't have garlic powder, you can use garlic paste also. 2 teaspoons of garlic paste also. Followed by 1 teaspoon of ginger powder. It can be replaced with ginger paste also. 3 teaspoons of white pepper powder. One teaspoon of paprika powder. If you don't have paprika powder, you can use the regular red chili powder. 1 tablespoon of white vinegar. And 1 teaspoon of salt. And half a cup of buttermilk. Buttermilk will tenderize the chicken and hence we are using it. But never use too much of buttermilk. Just half a cup will do. Mix it thoroughly. See that the chicken gets coated well with the marination. Now it is ready. Cover it with a lid and marinate in the refrigerator for about 5 hours, or you can even place it in the refrigerator overnight too. The more the marination, the more the taste. Now after 5 hours of marination, the chicken is ready. You can keep aside and take egg whites taken from 3 eggs. The protein present in the egg whites helps to bind the ingredients well with the chicken, because we are going to coat the chicken with all the all-purpose flour and fry them. So the egg whites prevents the crust to fall off from the chicken while frying, and hence we are using this. And you don't have to add the egg yolks, because the fat present in the egg yolk will turn the crust soft while frying, which will make the chicken chewy and not crunchy. So don't add egg yellow. Beat the egg whites just for 30 to 40 seconds. Never overbeat the egg whites, otherwise the proteins will break down. Now it is done. Keep aside. Now squeeze out the excess marinade from the chicken and dip it into the beaten egg whites and place on a plate. Repeat the process with the other drumsticks also the same way. Now again transfer all the chicken drumsticks into a bowl and pour the egg white mixture over them and let them soak in the egg white mixture till we start the breading process. Take a large and deep mixing bowl and add 3 cups of maida and 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder. White pepper powder half a teaspoon to be added along with this. and half a teaspoon of garlic powder and half a teaspoon of paprika powder, half a teaspoon of salt, and mix well using a whisk. For 1 cup of maida, you must add half a teaspoon of baking powder. So for 3 cups, I've added 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder. Now remove 1 cup of maida from the bowl and transfer it to a plate. And the balance 2 cups of maida should be kept aside. 1 cup we have taken in this plate. Now all set. Now we can go ahead with the first coating. Place a drumstick over the plate with the flour and coat it thoroughly with the flour. This is to lock the moisture present in the chicken because the drumsticks have been soaked in the marinade and the egg white as well. So this first coating with dry flour helps to keep the marinade intact. Now repeat the process with the other drumsticks also the same way. Now this is the leftover flour. Now place a colander over the mixing bowl which we had kept aside and sift the leftover flour. This is to discard the residues so that the flour gets cleaned and can be used further without any residues. So we are not going to waste the flour. So we are going to sift them and use them. You can see the residues, you can discard them. Now the flour is ready for the second coating. Keep it aside. Before we start the second coating, we must heat the oil because once the chicken gets its second coating done, it should immediately be fried in oil. So heat groundnut oil in a deep and thick bottom pan for deep frying. While it starts to get heated, we can go ahead with the second coating. Now I've taken buttermilk 2 cups which is in room temperature. The acid present in the buttermilk and the alkaline baking powder which we had added in the dry flour react together to give us a very crunchy crust without making it hard to bite. Now take the flour coated drumstick and dip into the buttermilk. Dip well for about 20 to 30 seconds and shake the excess and place it over the dry flour mix and coat the chicken well with the dry flour. Press thoroughly so that the flour absorbs all the moisture from the chicken. This will take a little longer time because the breading process should be done perfectly to get that flaky textured crust. Do it this way, same way as I'm doing. Coat the chicken well by tightly pressing it with the flour and shake off the excess flour. As you shake off the excess flour, some cracks will be formed in between and the moist portion will be seen through them. Again, you must roll the chicken over the flour to cover that moisture and shake off the excess flour again. So do this at least 3 to 4 times to get that flaky texture. So this will take a little longer time. You can see the moist portion on one side. So you have to dry it by coating again with the flour and shake off the excess flour. Never dip the chicken second time with the buttermilk and proceed with the dry coating. Only once the chicken should be dipped in buttermilk. Otherwise, the crust will become hard, like a shell. So don't do that. So please follow this method of breading the chicken to get the best result. And do the breading this way. Coat the chicken well with the powder tightly like this. Just like the way I'm doing. Do it at least 3 to 4 times to get the proper texture. And shake off the excess this way. And use only room temperature buttermilk and never use plain water, and most importantly, never skip the eggs. Because in this recipe, egg whites act as the best binder, and since we are not using the egg yolks, the fried chicken will not have that unpleasant odor of the egg yolks. Now you can see the beautiful and flaky texture which we have achieved by this breading technique. Now fry it immediately in hot oil. The oil is hot. Reduce the flame and drop the chicken gently into the oil and fry it over a slow flame till golden brown. Fry one by one. Don't crowd all the pieces into the oil. The chicken should cook well inside, so do it slowly. Now it's done. Look at the beautiful and flaky golden brown crust, and the chicken has been fried to perfection. Quite juicy inside and crunchy outside. To see the texture, the flaky texture. Now fry the other pieces also, but it should be fried over a slow flame. Only then the chicken will be cooked well inside. Now drain the excess oil with an absorbent paper. Now very delectable KFC style fried chicken is ready to be served. Serve hot with tomato ketchup or honey mustard sauce. The slow cooking process has made the chicken quite tender, juicy and crispy outside, and look at the the texture, it's too good and perfect.
1, 2, 3, 4.
This is just to show you how crunchy it has turned out. Heard it? You can see the crust has been perfectly glued to the chicken. The crust doesn't fall off the chicken and has not turned like a hard shell. The chicken has been cooked perfectly soft, juicy and very tasty too, which means the recipe is undoubtedly 100% perfect. Friends, please try this recipe at home and never forget to send me your feedback, and please subscribe to my channel. Thank you all very much. With lots of love, Sana Kuram.